Okay, well, it looks like we're live. I see myself on the screen, capturing, lights on, lights blinking. All right. Oh crap! I forgot to set my timer. All right. So thank you all for being here. This is like part 3 in this series of the video that I'm dedicated to Jackie Adam. Hi, Jackie. And so let me just get into this. There's no music. I don't have time for music. I'm looking at a 10-minute video, which is fine. If you like music, let me know, and I will do some 10-minute videos with, around music. Anyway, all right. So we had talked about the built-in, the last video, if you were here, I was talking about, oh, and by the way, I'm Verite Arbusto. This is the Schumann Resonance harmonics channel on YouTube and Facebook. This is like the 9th of October, and it's Friday. And so thank you all for being here. I appreciate being here and your comments and your suggestions, your love. Thank you all very much. All right, so let's see if I can get this. Right, there we go. Oh, no, we don't want to see the lights. All right, so there we go. All right. Very nice. Okay. So, So last video I talked about the built-in fuckery of the Schumann resonance and knowing what you're looking at, and this one being different from this one. And then there's also these really fun and interesting. These are really, really cool pictures. I just want to say that. This is measuring thunderstorms, right? They're neat pictures. I like them. They're graphs. All right. They're fun. They're colorful. They're very interesting. They're trippy. They're really great and cool. What are you looking at? They're fun to look at. Just to look at them, even if you kind of get a little sense of what the scale is, and like, wow, this is really cool. But there's there's a learning curve with this, that you really need to spend an amount of time dedicated. We'll just say 5 hours every day, like I do. Roughly 4 hours, as I'm able to, researching these topics or subjects. And if you dedicate that much time, you will have amassed either a whole lot of questions, but maybe some answers along with it, and you'll have a general sense of what's going on. There's a learning curve. There's a part going into this. And so this is what I'm talking about with Jackie, that it's work to get to know this stuff. But if you dedicate your time and effort into it, it's worth it when you can look at the graphs and interpret them for other people as well. I think that's a really important thing, that it's not just me doing this for myself. I'm doing this largely for everyday average people, so you all can understand much better. I want to break down the higher, really complicated stuff into some very simple language, if I can, so you really can get a good grasp of what's going on. And that's why I'm doing this. That's the number one reason why I'm doing this, is so that you all, there's, here, Jackie, you, and then Julie, and then what's his name, Bradley, and then there's a bunch of people who are just very grateful that I'm able to kind of interpret and translate this stuff. Okay. So, part of it is, as the last line I had said in the responses, part of the way that the illusion works is the failure of competence on the part of the operators who do not know when their machine is misbehaving. Okay. They don't know what they're looking at. People who are not skilled technicians looking at something, looking at a graph, not knowing what it is, but giving you an interpretation on that. Okay, so that's just an example. All right. So I've dealt with the built-in hocus pocus, we'll say, the shock and jive of the Schumann charts, and what you're looking at there being readily accessible only to people with training in this stuff, not the average everyday person. Okay, so my job as a technician, of an etheric technician, is hopefully to make this complicated stuff more accessible to you. Okay, all right. So The next part she writes is, so she gives me a reply. Verdi Arbusto, I can now see the complexity in the complexity of the interpretations. Oh, you said that perfectly there. So many factors. I'm in awe of your focus on this essential understanding. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. I want to learn and understand. I'm including the magnetic pole shift when trying to understand the combined global physics. Don't know much about that either, but it would cause disturbance, not destructions of readings. Would mightily confuse the recording instruments. This student. Huh. Okay, so yeah, so she's looking for more information. So the overall theme here is the magnetic polarity reversal. So I'm 3 videos into thank you for Jackie, and it started out in one direction, which I've addressed hopefully well enough. But the general overall drift that she and a lot of people are wondering is about how would a potential magnetic pole shift affect the Schumann? How is it going to affect the Earth, and by consequence, how is it going to affect the Schumann? All right. So this is part of a bigger overall lesson. And I want to get into. It's a bigger overall lesson that I want to get into, but first, before tackling that rather large subject matter, what I need to do first is break down some background information. All right, so I've been kind of, as I've been doing my tests, I've been sort of also working through how to kind of present the different facets. So there's going to be a number of kind of introductory videos of a few topics, few subjects, before going into that, even addressing that question, because I think it's going to be a little different than what people have in mind of how it would affect, the first major way of how it would affect the Schumann, right? So, and the recording instruments, she's asking about the instruments, which I can answer a little bit better than the Schumann itself. Okay, if that makes sense. Right. So where we're going is we're talking about the magnetic pole drift. So the first thing is I'm going to make a little short video on what exactly is the magnetic pole drift. Okay, and then there's a few things that need to be brought up. Is the idea of tension relative to voltage. Okay. So there's an expression, you don't hear it so much anymore, high tension power lines. Now they're just overhead lines, but they used to be called high tension lines, and you could hear them buzzing. And they still do. So that was something I needed to introduce as well. And there's a few other things, the global electric circuit. So there's some knowledge that needs to be understood first before I can properly address the question at hand of how does one interact with the other. All right, so so this is just an introduction video on this topic of where we're going. The next 5 or 6 videos, whatever, are going to be to answer this question the best I can. All right. So thank you, Jackie. Thank you for all the rest of you subscribers who have definitely made it worth my while to be here. You've given me some love and support. If you like this video, make sure to thumbs up it, share it, tell your friends about it, and watch it all the way through. I appreciate it because, like I said, my statistics show that people watch 5 minutes of the video, and you really